Welcome into WagerTalk TV. I am Drew Martin, joined by Brian Leonard and Ralph Michaels of WagerTalk.com, and we're talking the Holiday Bowl here. We got Pac-12 versus Big Ten. You know, outside of the New Year's Bowls, this is one of my favorite guys, and this is a good matchup. Two ranked teams here. We got the USC Trojans and the Iowa Hawkeyes, with the Big Ten Iowa Hawkeyes laying 252 the total. Brian, start off with you. You interested in betting this one, either side or total?
Well, my line on this is Iowa -3, so it's not enough to place a bet. But you've got a USC team that finished the season pretty strongly. They bringing the coach back again, something that we weren't sure of the entire season. From a standpoint of talent, USC's got the better talent, but Iowa's got the better coaching in my estimation. Iowa's a team that they should be able to run the ball against this USC defense. USC allowed 4.6 yards per carry this season, and the Big Ten's one of those conferences that, especially Iowa, the Wisconsins, those teams that like to run the football, and if they run the football, they can have some success. When you're taking a look at how these teams have played on the road, both teams have played better on the road than they have at home this year. The Pac-12 has not done well in the bowls lately. Last year they were worse. The last 3 years, right? The last 3 years have been worse.
17-1.
Even worse than the MAC. Yeah. So I'm not jumping for joy to play any Pac-12 school at this point, but you got to admit the location's got to be to their advantage. I don't know. Well, I guess if I was in Iowa, I would want to go to the West Coast. But I've been to the Rose Bowl when they've had these teams from obviously the Big Ten against the Pac-12, and it's a pretty good mixture of the teams. So I would assume from a fan standpoint, it'll probably be about mixed here. But the line's about where I thought it should be, so slight lean to Iowa, but I'm not going to get involved.
Okay. It is a fascinating handicap, not only from, the followings going to this, from the Big Ten, big followings, and then the Pac-12 obviously there. You speak to the fact that the Pac-12 hasn't done good, Ralph, at all, and that's including Utah with Kyle Whittingham's success in the Bowls. I wonder if you take out the Utes, might get really drastic.
I call it the mini Rose Bowl because when they renegotiated the bowl contracts a few years ago, it's Pac-12 against Big Ten. It's been that way. Well, what's happened the last 4 years? The Big Ten team has won and covered. So not a good sign for the Pac-12. As Brian mentioned, Pac-12 teams in bowls the last 3 years, 3-17-1 against the spread. More reasons not to like USC. Well, they're number 112 in turnover margin. They turn the ball over. They don't force turnovers. Reason not to like USC. Iowa, number 4 in fewest penalties. They don't make mistakes. They're well coached. Ferentz is a great coach, and he's very disciplined, and it's been the same program for so many years. Why do I like USC? I just think the matchup favors USC in this game. You weren't in a bowl game last year. That's embarrassing. You're a USC team that was not in a bowl game. These guys, from what I understand, do like the head coach. They're happy he's back. Graham Harrell has changed the offense. They are going to now start getting quarterback and wide receiver recruits going to this air raid offense. And although Iowa has the number 16 pass efficiency D, which is very good, and it's based on who you've played, I don't think they have the safeties that can cover the talent USC has when you put their 4 receivers on the field. Iowa's never faced anything like that. Ohio State has 3 quality receivers. They'd have a running back. When USC is going to load up 4 receivers and Iowa's going to have a safety on one of those receivers, I think it's a matchup problem for them. So despite USC being bad in turnover margin and Iowa being good in penalties and the Big Ten's dominance and the Pac-12's fallings in the bowls, I actually do lean USC, and I think Graham Harrell's a big difference maker. He won't be there after next year for sure as the OC. There's no question. He'll be gone if he doesn't get a job this year. Right?
He just got an extension, I believe, for 1 year.
So someone's going to come knocking on his door, whether he stays or not. I mean, Graham Harrell to me is probably the OC of the year this year. Besides, LSU, made changes, but it wasn't even their OC that was new. It was the quarterback coach who came from the New Orleans Saints that changed that offense. To me, Graham Harrell's done the best job as any OC has done in college football.
And you speak to the playmakers on the outside. In my opinion, that's how USC has won the big games that they did. Bringing up the Utah game in the Coliseum, the 50-50 balls, they were just throwing it up to the wide receivers and more times than not.
You have 3 first-round draft choices.
Exactly.
USC has 3 first-round draft choice wide receivers that are all going to be playing in the NFL. I mean, no one has the talent. Even Alabama doesn't have the talent in wide receiver as USC does that'll be in the NFL.
Well, so you're liking USC plus?
I
plus
do.
2.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons I gave not to like them, but to me, when I look at the talent, the eye test on this between these two teams, it favors USC for me.
Well, the thing with Iowa is they're never going to get these huge recruits offensively or defensively, but they play a team game, they run the football, they don't turn the ball over, as you pointed out with USC, a team that's either big plays, explosive plays, or incomplete passes. And that's a problem you run into it. So
they do have 2 first-round tight ends, 2 first-round draft choice tight ends last year, and they have the best defensive player on the field with Espinoza this year, who's going to be a first-round pick as well. So they still get some talent, but yeah, they're like TCU and Boise and teams that get 3 stars and turn those 3 stars into 5 stars.
That's right. They were able to develop the players a lot better than USC has done over the years.
Great stuff, guys. Check them out on Twitter at CalSportsLV. That's Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com, and also at BLeonardSports on Twitter, Brian Leonard. Guys, don't forget, WagerTalk TV users get $25 in WagerBucks added to your account after your first purchase at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com.